All right, Chase.
Yep.
Chase Blanchard.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
I was about to say, I appreciate you coming out.
Absolutely.
The first WorthWhile interview.
Coming live at you, baby.
Cut to the chase.
There you go. Cut to the chase.
But this show is basically going to be about just talking about people that know their worth, just people that can just see what they want to do, that are being themselves day to day and just making it happen. Chase, I'm going to first ask you, tell your story. Tell the people that wouldn't know you about yourself, like what you're doing, where you came from.
Oh, gosh, my story. I could go on till 2017 about my story. Talking about, just being yourself, I've always viewed myself as just, I've always believed in myself, but I've always been that type of person. I don't think I'm definitely better than anyone else, and I don't think no one should ever think that they're better than somebody. I think they should strive to be their own person, my story is growing up, I only had my mother. My parents were divorced. I moved up here, as an early age, second grade, and all I had was my mother, and it was just me, my mother, my sister, and my grandmother, so naturally I had to, learn to grow up really fast, really quick, and, it's had its blessings and its curse, but, ultimately I think it's made me into the man I am today, and, I've always strived to do the best I can, and, the stuff that my mom has taught me has, instilled a lot into me versus, business, personal, and even relationship to friendships, and, I simply just try to be the best I can every single day and work as hard as I can. I'm a true believer in a lot of little sayings, cliche sayings. I'm a true believer in, the saying is, what is it? You live like there's no tomorrow. I'm a true believer in that. I'm a true believer in everything happens for a reason. There's a reason for it, whether it be good or bad. There's always a reason for it. And I live life, the way I see fit, and I always try to give back, because, by no means did I grow up poor by any means. Don't let it fool you. I'm not an actual story to where I just ate food out of trash cans, nothing like that. Don't get that construed, because my mom, I know probably for a fact my mom spent countless nights probably hungry while I didn't. So, don't get me wrong, I had a great life growing up, but at the same time we didn't have a lot. So that's why I kind of, I hustled to make everything that I've ever done. Like I could go on this story forever, but
you keep talking. Just giving me more questions.
Yeah, my mom, I seriously, I keep crediting, you'll hear it a lot. My mom is seriously my saint, my everything, who has taught me everything that I've ever known, and and I wouldn't have it any other way. And it's just taught me a lot about, respect and how to treat others, and it's tied second into my business as well. I've worked for everything I've ever had. Nothing has ever been handed to me, and that takes a lot of pride. I love taking in pride in a job well done. I call myself kind of a workaholic, but growing up, I can tell you right now, there's only me and another kid that I can tell you that made $1,000 in the 7th grade. Selling Monster Energy.
Out there hustling?
Yeah, selling Monster Energy. Selling Monster Energy stickers.
That. Sean Russell?
Yeah, Sean Russell, me and Kendall. Yeah, everybody. So
I actually forgot about that.
I made in 7th grade I made $1,000 alone. What other 7th grader who made $1,000 in 7th grade? So I've always been a businessman, talking about that in sales. So but I just always try to be honest, man. I'm a very another big thing about me is I'm a very optimistic person. I don't ever see a one-sided story. I always put myself in somebody else's shoes, and I'm a very emotional guy. From start to finish, whether it be extreme sadness. I'm a crier. I tell you, I'm a crier, dude. I'll tell you right now. And I'm a very energetic person. You can ask Benji and whoever plays sports with me.
Oh yeah,
I was
from being around.
Yeah, I was Mr. School Spirit. Exactly. Remember that? In high school, that was my little award there. Is I'm just full of emotion, whether it be good or bad. And I don't know. I've always, like I said, I've taken a lot from my mother, and I've instilled it into my business, and I've grown up today, and now I'm a real estate agent here at 20 years old. 2 years into the business, and I think I'm doing well for myself, but I just I don't let it get to my head. I'm very humble, and I'm very appreciative for all the opportunities that I've gotten, and just pursuing them all.
That's amazing to hear. But I mean, going back to also like you were saying, the optimistic. You always think optimistically. That's a big thing that I feel like people these days don't do. Like there's two ways you can look at any situation. Like you said, good or bad. Something bad can happen to you, but you can be optimistic and look at it in a good way.
Yeah, I mean
that's a big part in
and
a
that's
lot.
and that's another thing. I mean, that's why I say everything happens for a reason. It sucks that you didn't make this team, or or you didn't do this or that. But I think there's always a reason for it, because in the end, there's a reason for it.
There's always a lesson to be learned.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a crazy story. I mean, like, I know back when, we weren't that close, like, during high school and stuff like that, but I remember hearing through Benji, of course, a couple things about your mom, so, like, I knew that, like, that was probably one of the, like, driving forces behind it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's another story that a lot of people, don't know, and I purposely kept it that way because, yeah, I mean, my mom was going through, I believe it was stage 2, stage 3 ovarian cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I seriously could have lost my mother my senior year, and it was a very, very, very hard and tragic time, But I mean, even me and you were very good friends. You didn't know about that,
Yeah.
and nobody really knew about that simply because I mean, obviously I prayed like hell and kept my faith, but I didn't. I just didn't want to come as much as I wanted prayers from everybody, and I knew they would send it my way, but. I just didn't want it to ever seem like the guy that wanted the attention just because my mother's in the hospital,
Yeah.
And I guess that might be, some people might have conflicting opinions about, about that, but, I kept it to myself because, I knew that, there was only one man that'd be the difference in that, and that's God Himself. So, that's a one big thing that a lot of people didn't know, and I wanted it to keep it that way, and obviously, you remember my senior year. You don't ever remember me coming into school sad.
Shows the strength that
Yeah,
you had.
I mean that's
even then.
Yeah, I mean it just just always, and that's kind of I think what you preach, with your brand is being yourself, being you, and and I think that's the thing too. My mother is such a positive glow of light on this earth, and that's what I wanted to be, even though in the darkest of times to be that for her.
Mm-hmm.
And you never noticed it, but. Actually, this necklace that I'm wearing right here was given to me by her, years and years ago, and I never take it off ever.
Through showers?
No showers, nothing. I even went to a water park and they told me to take it off on this ride,
Nope.
and I walked down the ride. I didn't even ride it, so I never take it off. The only time I've ever taken it off was during when she went into her surgery, the big one to remove the cancer. That I knew that was going to be a detrimental surgery.
Mm-hmm.
That. It had a lot of upsides, obviously, that would remove it, but it was also a very, extreme, scary surgery. The only time I ever she wore it with her on the surgery, and she had this hair tie that I wore on my wrist. So while she took the necklace, I wore her hair tie on my wrist during my senior year. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but I mean, I think that's another thing too is no matter how hard you think you may have it, definitely somebody always has it harder than you. So. Even though my mom was in bad health at the time, I still had her, so a lot of people might not say that, they don't have their mother. So
with her being as big of an influence as she is, like, in your life, like, is she a reason you want to pursue real estate, or is she like
no, not necessarily the reason I want to pursue real estate. Obviously, she even said it before I even got into real estate that she'd love to get into it, but she said she would love to get into it, but unfortunately, she can't just quit her job that pays for our bills already to pursue it. But now she was a big influence in it because it was one of those jobs. Nobody necessarily told me I wouldn't make it, but they said it would be extremely difficult. So her being the motivator she is, I never backed down. So I never thought I couldn't do it, because of her. All right, guys, we're back. There you go.
No, but what do you think? I guess personally with real estate, like goal wise, what do you think? Like, well, I guess I should say another question I was gonna say is from high school. I know you said you were like the energetic and going everywhere, but like mindset wise, you were a different Chase.
Yeah.
What do you think like shifted? Like, what changed mindset wise from you now to like as you look at yourself now?
Like what changed as far as my mindset from high school to now?
Yeah.
I always had that mentality. There was a lot of stuff. Me and my my best friend Caleb. Obviously we're all good friends with him, but he's probably one of my closer friends of all of them. And we always had a mentality that we were gonna we weren't gonna, like you, we weren't gonna, necessarily just live a everyday normal life. We wanted something more extraordinary, and we knew we had the opportunities. Hopefully, would come along, but we knew we had the willpower and the determination. Even a little bit later on in high school. But what kind of changed, as far as my mindset from high school to where I'm at now? High school. I tried to. High school was a very fun time. You also, as you can imagine, you were introduced to a lot of new things, and I tried to really watch it, and not a lot of people realize it, but that's why, I went to gatherings and parties and stuff, but I didn't do some of the things that other people might do, and it, like I said, and anytime they ever did that, it's not like I looked bad against them, but I swore to myself, in my own self, because the reason my parents were divorced because my dad, was the drugs and stuff, and I swore to myself I wouldn't become that person, so I didn't even try to do any of it. So, that's kind of the biggest thing I had in high school, was kind of battling that and staying true to myself. And I say battling, but it was never hard for me at any point. I just was myself. I think that's kind of what we're all about here, and what WorthWhile is about, and what reason I love it. Is because, like you said, it's staying true to yourself, no matter the opinions, no matter what people say. Just being yourself. And I always was myself, and I went to parties, and I think at some points I was the life of the party. And didn't necessarily do the things that other people did, and that's fine. Like I said, I'm not down on the people that did that. That's perfectly fine. That's their life choices, and that's who makes them who they are, and that's who makes me who I am. But as far as my mindset changed, I know I'm kind of getting off topic here, but as far as my mind changed, I really think it just kind of all fell together. There's nothing really one thing that clicked in me. No, I take that back. I guess what it was is I was sitting here, I remember, if you can recall, at the end of senior year, there was the big library hall at our school. And everybody had their own individual square of what they were doing or where they were going after high school. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Yeah. They had their own little square. Everybody had their own of where they were going to college or going to work.
Yeah.
You remember that in the big library hall. And at the end of high school, I had a warehouse job lined up. Before I even got out of high school, I knew I was going to start there because I didn't turn 18, till the day before graduation. Mm-hmm. So I knew I was gonna start there right after, like, graduation. I think was on like a Thursday. I was supposed to start my job Monday, so there wasn't no big senior trip or nothing for me. It was straight to work, and I think that's kind of the mindset that kind of really changed it right there. There was no senior trip for me. I didn't go on nothing like that. And do I kind of regret it? Well, maybe, but no. I've always been that type of person, a workaholic, to a degree, but.
Don't say I apologize.
No. You can't handle Mother Nature. But is I had a warehouse job, and that was one of the biggest things that kind of hit me. When I thought about the mindset change from where I'm at now as an independent, my own boss as a real estate agent, and to high school, is that my block in that library hall said warehouse worker. And, while other people said, UT Chat, UT Knoxville, ETSU, MTSU, or others were military, or, something, worth it, worthwhile, and mine said warehouse worker,
You know what?
And
I didn't even have one.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't even on the wall.
And I think to myself, wow, is that really how I'm going to be remembered, as just a warehouse worker? Just another... pea in the pod, and I thought to myself, and I worked there for about 2.5 weeks, and I knew that wasn't going to be the life for me for the rest of my life, so why waste any more time? And then I left there and just kind of found myself over the summer, and a lot of that ties into I had a relationship that I was in that ended badly around that time, and also taught me a lot as a man, and towards my future, and that ended, and here I am, just kind of just in limbo in life. And it's not like I had to figure out life right then. Obviously I'm still like 18 years old. But I said, what am I going to do the rest of my life? I'm obviously not going to work at this warehouse. I can't just mow grass the rest of my life. what am I going to do? And it just kind of all fell into me. We actually just bought our house that we live in now. It'd probably been about a year and a half. And I kid you not, we seriously looked at homes for like 4 years. I swear we did. We looked at like hundreds. But one thing about it was every time we looked at one, I went with her. Every single showing I looked at. And I loved it. I loved going and looking at houses. I loved seeing the new houses, the old houses, the structure of them, the architects, how they were designed. And I loved it. And our family friend is the one who sold it to us. And he told me when I was 17, 16, if I ever wanted to become, a real estate agent, that, to talk to him. So, just by the grace of God and just, boredom, just really. Yeah, I called him one day and I ended up talking to him for 2.5 hours.
Really?
And I said, I'm gonna pursue this, and like I told you before, Tyler, I mean, when I say I'm gonna pursue something, I don't pursue it halfway. I pursue it full throttle, and that's kind of how it all changed, from right there.
What are some of your goals in real estate alone that you want to hit?
The goals in real estate alone.
What do you see in your future with real estate?
Last year, I sold 5 houses in my first year. I tell everybody I started when I was 18. With braces still on my face and an oversized blazer coat is how I started. And my first year I sold 5 houses, and I might have made 15 grand, which ain't bad, at 18 years old, and also of course still kept my side job at Kroger that I've always had.
Oh, yeah.
And and coming into this second year that we're about to wrap up now, really, my goal was to sell at least one a month. That was my goal for this year. I had no realistic dollar amount of what I wanted to be at, but my goal was to sell at least one a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of, I don't think I pushed myself, but I didn't really know what to expect. And I think that's kind of, obviously I'm going to start setting goals more towards next year, here soon, but I think that's kind of been one of the more positive things that I've actually noticed is I kind of have, and that's why I talk about excuse me, is about being optimistic. Is I think there's a 50-50 way of looking at it. I think when people set the bar too high, they end up stressing themselves, to the limit of reaching that unbelievable goal, in which that's good to set a goal and try to reach it. But that's also kind of the more refreshing things about this year is I didn't really have a huge goal, and I kind of went in with I just went for it. I didn't necessarily set a huge goal, and I had really no expectations. So with no expectations, I just put my head to the grind and worked, and my goal was to sell one a month, and I'm lucky and blessed that I've almost sold $2 million in sales this year. My last closing was the 15th closing I've had, and here it is October. The 10th month. So, and projected, I think I just got an email the other day. I don't tell a lot of people this. I don't know if this will be shared nationally, but I'm blessed. Like I said, 15th sale and $2 million in sales, and I'm projected to make about $60,000 this year.
That's awesome.
So. It's
especially just diving in head first.
It
comes along just like knowing you can do it. Like you said, you knew you were going to pursue something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man, and I love it. I love what I do every single day, and that's my goal for next year. I'm going to hit right at about 2.2, I hope, and that's the goal for the end of the year. And next year I'm shooting for $5 million and 2 a month. So, that's the big goal for next year. So.
That's awesome. What do you think the power of social media has on growing businesses, like personal? Well, I guess you should say personal life in business, because a lot of business these days it's like people being themselves and like doing what they want to do and showing them through social media.
Yeah.
And I know that's a huge thing that you do. But like, what do you
No,
think?
social media is a tremendous power and tool for entrepreneurs and people like ourselves trying to grow their own business. That I heard it. I don't remember where I heard it. It was some type of company conference or something like that I read. Social media is an amazing tool, but it also can be an amazing dagger. So you gotta watch it. But it's simply put this way with social media. The old school tactics, and that's the biggest thing about real estate is, you literally, have to brand yourself, because there are 10,000 agents in this entire just Middle Tennessee area alone of agents, and you're only going to use one agent to sell your home. So you've got to separate yourself, and you've got to brand yourself to a point to where they've got to say, that man Chase Blanchard is going to be the one that I want to choose out of 10,000 agents. So you got to be on top of your game. So that's one way to do it, social media. And the simplest way to put it is, the old school tactic is, going door to door, or, handing out business cards, which I do both. But especially, even on your street alone, look, the houses, unless you hit like a neighborhood that's right together, you're not going to be able to do that. And nowadays, unfortunately in the world we live in, that can be kind of unsafe sometimes too as well. But in simplest terms with social media, I have about, I think last time I checked, like 2,000 friends on Facebook. If I create, an advertisement of a house, let's say this beautiful house that you live in now, I list it for sale, and I say, hey, come check out, the Steigelman's property. It's got, beautiful features, a wonderful curb appeal, and all this. Think about how many people, how many doors and people how much time I would have to spend to reach 2,000 people. How much time it would take for me to pass out literally 2,000 individual business cards to people. Think about how long that would take me to do that versus creating a social media advertising and writing a big thing on it, getting your picture out there, getting your brand out there, getting your name out there, and literally clicking one button where it says post. And you just reached 2,000 people, and you just shook the hand of and handed your business card to 2,000 people in about 5 minutes.
And it's compared to, like, as if you were saying, like, the time it takes to go door to door. If you just take 30 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that, just to, like, focus on, like, a picture, small advertising, like you were saying, versus, like, the days.
Absolutely. Think if you just went to Kroger and just literally did nothing but pass out business card. Even if you did that, how long it would take you to pass out 2,000 individual cards, 2,000 different individuals there.
And how many of them are actually going to read it?
Yeah, exactly. So, I think social media is a tremendous tool, But like I said, too, it also can be a tremendous drawback. There's a lot of drama that can be involved, and, you got
to learn to, like, keep it personal.
Oh, Facebook was intended, for everybody to keep in touch long distance, and that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be to start fights or, drama this and drama, because there could be a lot of that on Facebook. But other than that, it's an amazing tool. It's an amazing tool for people like ourselves, to brand ourselves and to get our name out there.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I know you said the other day when we were talking that you can't sit still without doing something.
Yeah,
back at Poncho's that one day. Have you always been like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've always been
like that. I know you said you were selling the monster stickers in 7th grade and stuff, but, like, even before, it's always been like you've had to do something.
Yeah, that's true. even as you see right now, me talking, if you, everybody watching this, you see I talk with my hands, I can't, I got to move in some type of way, I can't.
You gotta dodge light, move
I got to move some type of way, whether it be my hands, my feet, or something. I've just always been a fidgety person, and that's dated back since day one. My grandpa, rest his soul, that's passed away now. He can recall, times where we've gone to hotels and everybody's ready to go to sleep, and I'm over there running around. And that's why he said that's why they called me Chase, was my middle name is Lee. So my middle name's Chase Lee. So he said, no, it ain't Chase Lee. You always said it's Chase me. And I used to literally run up and down hotel, hallways. Yeah. Well, my grandpa chases me because I just couldn't sit still. And it's still that way today. I can't sit still. And we actually was very, very fortunate enough to take a big family trip to Europe last month. And that was it was an amazing experience going over there. But the worst part of it all was the airplane ride. We had to be on the airplane for 8 hours, 8.5 hours. No, it wasn't my first time on the plane. I love flying, but I had to be in an airplane seat for 8.5 hours sitting like this. Like, that killed me. Like, that was probably the worst. I have dug holes. I have done so many side jobs in my entire life. I have dug koi ponds, just literally just digging holes all day in 90-degree weather for little to no change at all, to get paid. And I'd rather do that than sit that long. Yeah, I'm a very fidgety person. That's been ever since I was young, and it's still today. That's why I enjoy my job. I couldn't imagine.
You think that's something that you've like mastered to get stuff done?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It's a correlation, you know, and it's just like, I'm just like every other human being. Eventually, you do burn out, and you want to just literally sit around and do nothing. But yeah, I mean, it is. It's a correlation of, are you talking about helping my business?
Yeah.
And that's absolutely. I'll give you a perfect example. 2 years ago, we had that big ice storm, that shut down the Walmart. If you live in the South, that's a big deal if you shut down the Walmart.
If you can't get to the Walmart,
Yeah, that's a big deal. Everybody needs to stay inside. It's like epidemic. But no, when that ice storm happened, I just started. I just was licensed in real estate. So as you can imagine, dude, I'm ready to hit it hard. I'm ready to go, hit it hard, and try to get the first sale. And that ice storm comes along, and I'm cooped up. I had nowhere to go. It's ice. I can't go nowhere. I had a 2-wheel drive truck at the time, so I definitely couldn't go nowhere. And I remember telling, my girlfriend now, we were talking at the time. We weren't actually dating just then. I remember telling her, I'm like, man, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like I need to do something. Like, I was cooped up in a house, for days on end, and I'm like, I don't know what I need to do, but I feel like I need to do some work. Like, I need to read a document, draw a document, do something, because I just feel unproductive. And I think that where it kind of comes in is, like you said, it leads to me being more productive, and it helps me to the sense of, as I can't be lazy. I mean, I can't. I have no choice. That's just the way I am.
That's a good way to be.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but is there any daily routines that you do at all that is something that like helps you mindset wise, or makes you like remember that you can do it, or you tell yourself anything?
And I'll be quite honest with you, Tyler. That's something actually I need to work on. I need to get more into a daily routine. That I'm currently working on as I become more involved and get busier and learn the game more as far as real estate. I need to get a better routine because I can be not necessarily lackadaisical, but I can be kind of all over the place sometimes. One of the biggest things for me, I think, is definitely my morning showers. I know that sounds weird, but my morning showers, man, I take long morning showers and I think about what I'll have to do for the day. But far as a daily routine, there's nothing really that's set in mind, and that's something that is. I can tell you right now, it's bad. I need to work on it, and that's one thing. I'm a firm believer in is there's always room for improvement. There's no. I could make $1 billion a year, but I think there's always room for improvement, and I've been that way since sports. I was really hard on myself with sports. I was lucky enough to, be blessed, and I had somewhat, natural ability of sports, but I definitely wasn't no pro by any means. But I was always really hard on myself. There was always something more I needed to push myself on, and that's something I need to work on that. But far as just a daily routine, I always look at my phone and my schedule that I need to get better on with that. But morning showers and driving. Driving's a big deal for me.
It clears the mind.
Yeah, driving, it clears my mind. And it also, I think about, what I need to do. And I make a lot of phone calls when I'm driving. I'm always on the phone while I'm driving, simply because that's when I think the most and it hits me, is driving. So the drive out to the office, which isn't long at all. It's only about 8 minutes or so, but that's kind of one of my biggest.
Your brainstorming.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest daily routines is driving.
What it's a change of subject between daily routine and this, but what are your thoughts as if what it means to know your worth as an individual? Not necessarily you, but like your thoughts on people knowing their worth. Like how beneficial is that, you think?
knowing their worth, and I think that's a huge deal. I think it's a huge deal because, unfortunately, we live in a cruel world today. It can be. I think there's a lot of good still left in the human race, and there always will be. But sometimes we can live in a cruel world where people get put down for how they look or act or dress or say or anything. And I don't think there's one person in this world that's not important to the world. And like I said, I'm a very emotional person, and it really gets to me, like when I see people making fun of other people, whether it be a disability or, like a Down syndromes or something like that, or autism, because everybody in this life has a purpose, and I have a first cousin that she has disabilities and can't walk and stuff, so that's also kind of dear to my heart. But um, everybody should know their worth, and everybody should know that they're beautiful inside and out because I think I for one, I love my life. I love the life I live. And I can seriously say that from day to day. And there's so many aspects in it. And everybody that's in my life, it has a special. Everybody. And I think everybody should wake up every day, and love their life the way I do, and just enjoy the next day. And I think it's very key, and important for everybody to know that they're worth it. And on days of struggling with that, of knowing you're worth it, I think that's when it's important to surround yourself with people that know your worth as well, and can support you in those times of need. Because everybody, I don't care if you're Superman, everybody's going to need that time eventually.
That help.
That help. Everybody needs help. So
that actually leads to what I was going to ask next. Is like, if you could say something to one person that not knowing that they're struggling or going through a hard part of their life, but say something that can make them change and realize that there is hope and there is a better future and there's always the next day. Not like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
not directly saying to someone, but if you were to have the opportunity to say something to change somebody's life, what would it be? To just realize that there is more, that they are worth it.
Yeah, whether it be they are struggling or not is what you're saying.
But you don't know.
I got you. My advice to any one person like that is just always believe. I'm just a believer. And I'm a huge Christian man as well. But it's just always believe, man. I really do. I'm a firm believer. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. I've dealt with with people struggling and have come to me for advice. And I don't even know them. And I think it's even the opportunity we both had working at Kroger. Working at Kroger taught me a lot. People come in there and they can be having a rough time and you have no idea, but a simple smile and a thank you and have a great day. Just telling somebody that to have a great day, I think can just can mean a lot to somebody, and just paying it forward and just spreading positivity throughout, because you never know. Yeah, like you said, you never know what somebody can go through. It's just like, man, it's just like me. It's just like me in my senior year. Y'all didn't know what I was going through, but I spread. Even though I had the opportunity to be down about myself, I still spread positivity because somebody else could be a lot worse than me. And that'd be my one advice is to somebody: just always keep believing, and just man, I hate to harp on the subject, but it's like suicide. Suicide, man, that gets me. That really gets to me. Is suicide. Is that as life may throw a lot of rocks at you, always stand tall. Always be that big oak tree at the end of the tunnel. And that everybody's life is precious in some type of way. And they should not end it. And it might be bad, but I can't promise it because I'm not the Lord Himself, but I can almost guarantee that there's gonna be a good ending. There's gonna be a light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean?
Every downfall comes with a
rise.
Like
I really do, man. That'd be one of my biggest things and advice is just saying to just always believe, and just keep fighting, man. Keep fighting. That's another thing I'm big on is just keep fighting, whatever it may be. Just keep fighting.
You got to.
Yep.
You've pretty much, you've summed up everything, like, mindset-wise and, like, everything I wanted to ask. Just, like, I guess one of the last things I want to ask, if we can just talk a little bit more, is what does WorthWhile mean as a brand to you? What do you see it as?
WorthWhile as the brand itself, obviously, for one, you'll have really comfortable shirts. You'll have really comfortable shirts, I'll tell you that right off the bat. But no, the WorthWhile brand itself, to me, speaks out for those people, for everybody involved. And that's the kind of biggest thing I see is, you watch movies and TV shows and in school and even the world itself, people put themselves into groups. Like you've got your jocks, your band people, your nerds, your preps, your this, for a long time, society has always given people labels and groups, and I think that's kind of what worthwhile is all about. Is not having no definition whatsoever. It's breaking that propaganda of groups, and saying, jocks, you're worth it, but nerds, you're worth it too. Like, I think everybody in this entire system is worth it, and everybody is special to this world and contributes to this life in some type of way. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing about worthwhile, is that you break that monotony of groups that people label themselves, and you try for everyone to come together as one, and one true meaning, and spreading positivity. And that's what I think is tremendous. What you're doing, what you yourself are doing with worthwhile, and everybody is just spreading positivity, and is just getting shining light on the world. I think that's my biggest thing.
You're worth it.
Yeah.
Never forgetting it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, man.
Well, I appreciate it, Tyler.
Chase
Thank
Blanchard.
you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's no problem.
It's been fun.
You've killed the game. Continue to kill the game.
Yeah, I'll try.
It's a pleasure been having you on here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.